Hello and welcome to Candle Brown, and we are on theme number 12, which is basically circle of concern. And we will hopefully look at it from a lot of perspective, including career growth and our two SDG tags 5 and 10. Usually 5 and 10s are so close to each other, gender equality and reduce inequality. The word inequality, either with regards to male, female, any gender that we are talking about, or with regards to people, rich, poor, location, geography, faith, is an area that we speak about in these two SDGs. And yes, our skill tag is empathy. Hopefully, by the end of these three activities that we'll be sharing today, you will become a more empathetic person. You will look at a perspective of people, and that is the idea. As always, the first page is talking about the perspective in terms of what is this whole topic about. Remember the idea of the shoe, circle of concern? Well, it's always about the shoe, isn't it? You have heard the story where you say that put yourself in someone else's shoe. Unfortunately, who knows, that shoe may not fit in, right? What about you walk in somebody's shoe? In fact, we do this lovely, lovely exercise in the class where we ask students to exchange shoes. It works better when the shoes are different. However, it can be done at any different participant in a workshop, in a setting where you tell them, all right, everybody go around, jump around, and wear somebody's pair of shoe and walk. How does it feel? In fact, there's a video we did. You can do as a class project where you make parents or outsiders walk in somebody else's shoes. It feels uncomfortable. It feels painful. It feels as if you covered 10 meters and it looks like you walked 1 kilometer. That's the kind of challenge. That is what empathy is about. Empathy is about putting yourself in that position of challenge. You will never understand poverty. You will never understand hunger unless you go hungry and you feel like the money is lost. You will never understand somebody's car breaking down until one day your car breaks down on a highway and you realize how helpless you become or how vulnerable or it dangerous. Sometimes it's a night. That is what we do. So this is the idea we are sharing. This is the concern we want the children to have. It's called circle of concern. As a lovely quote we start the chapter with, it says, all I ever wanted was to reach out and touch another human being, not just with my hands but with my heart. Right, it is a beautiful quote. The topic is shatter me. It says, have you touched somebody with their heart? One exercise I would like you to do, as you maybe just draw a large circle on the board, the whiteboard that you've got. All right, and then draw a smaller inner circle that you've got. In the inner circle is where you write I, and the outer circle is are the people your actions will touch. Whatever you do today, you are sick, maybe your parent, your teacher, your classmates. If you're viral, definitely somebody else will go viral. This is called the circle of concern. These are people who are concerned. And then there's a bigger circle called circle of influence. The more people you're concerned with, the more influence you're reading. So if your parent is upset, then they will go upset to the office. The colleagues are upset. A child who's sick, the parent is also staying up the whole night, and then it's a chain that goes on. Isn't it nice to draw it and understand? Do this, make them write how many people are immediately affected by their action. Sometimes our teenagers don't realize one word they speak, one action they do. They sometimes, do things which are dangerous, thinking, committing, an act that will lead them away from the family. Not acceptable, because you're not individual. There are people whose lives are involved in just your one decision. So hopefully, we can convey this beautiful message to our children in this one thing. Let's take up our activity. The first activity is a beautiful one. It's about something what we call the strike. Well, as I told you, if there was a strike, if there was a daily strike, as a school goer, how fantastic is it, isn't it? If there is a school, your school's closed and we all enjoy it. Offices shut down. Oh, fantastic. Now there's work from home though. But what about those who are affected? Think about when there's a strike, who is affected the most? And then you know who we are talking about. It's the daily wage laborer. These are people who were actually affected when there was COVID. Student appearing for the exam. Well, those people in COVID, when there was no NEET exam or whatever kind of format change, they had prepared for a certain area and they lost it. The doctor, well, I don't know about the doctor earning or not, but yes, if you're, if there's a strike, the doctor have patients, especially the patient who are ill and they need to do. Maybe a theater owner, that looks very, very funny because I think they made enough money selling popcorns. Yes, if you've ever gone to a PVR, but these are people. Think about 10 more organizations, people whose life will be affected if there's a strike. And we're saying be empathetic. It's be funny also. Sometimes you can say, all right, but what about the street vendor? What about someone else? And then what you need to do, of course, I'm making a little exciting program that you have to write a letter. Well, you can just generally write some 3 reasons why a strike is not healthy for the society. There is reason. You need to have very, very strong reasons if you are wishing to hold a strike or put a union across. Again, the activity is not over. We're giving you two perspectives. There are two pictures, a collage itself, and saying have a deep look at the pictures on your screen and look at the pictures. First of all, I have so many questions to you about it. What is a strike about? Well, you can see it. Where is this strike in? You can see the country's name also. Well, what profession do these people belong to? What's the gender ratio in the profession? What kind of color coordination is going on? Well, there are two different people, two different strikes. There's so many questions. Why don't you generate 10 questions and ask a team, divide this class into two teams and have fun understanding it, guess number of people, guess the audience demographics, the age that they belong to. Is it worth fighting for? Or one of them is just too superficial and one is deeper? So many questions you can talk about. The second activity is my personal favorite. Most of the time, we don't speak about this. It's called an albino. Have you met one? An albino is someone who has a skin and hair pigmentation condition. The absence of it usually gives them this white, completely look, hair, eye, skin. I'm sure you met one. And unfortunately, like the misfortunate conceptions people have against NIOS and AIDS and so many other areas about, it's with albino that you don't want to shake hand, you feel you will contract it. It's a genetic disease, right? So if a father has it, very likely the child has it. I know a very sad state of a young girl, very sweet, very talented, and she's not getting a spouse because the mother has this albinism. So the word albino, it also comes from one of the crusaders, and there's a beautiful term from the Roman cathedral time. It's a Latin word, albus. You remember who's Albus now? Albus Dumbledore. Well, that's the origin. It means white. So Albus Dumbledore has a grayish white beard. Well, now you know who albino is. Have you met one? Do you know someone in your family? How do they feel? Think of how an albino is treated. Isn't now a skill tag that I was talking about, the two skill tag of reduce inequality? It fits in. Yes, people with albinos. See, there are albinos among animals too. And here is a picture of an albino buffalo. Wow, buffaloes are expected to be completely black. And imagine a buffalo that's white in color. Many dangerous problems. Number one, if you're camouflaging in a herd, you will be seen. Albinos are more vulnerable. Albinos may not be, liked by the mother when they are born. Albinos may look like an intruder. Albinos may be the first one to be spotted by poachers. Albino may even be ostracized by their own community of animals. But yet, I have seen more sympathy and empathy in the animal world than in the human world. What are some of the words you will associate with albinism? Rejected, smart, alone, helpless, beautiful, fair, accepted, awkward, ostracized. Think of 10 more words you can think of, and hopefully that will give you a perspective. The last activity is one of from the global perspectives called Nations of the World. Well, as a country, we have so many amenities and such lovely blessings. What makes our country great? I'm a proud Indian. Perhaps you are looking at this chapter in a different part and a different nation. Tell us what makes your perspective of your country as wonderful. What are you proud of? And you must be. Also, then look at the countries around the world. Even if it's one of yours, it's fine. What are their current challenges and some achievements? Germany. Well, something Germans do talk a lot about is the Holocaust and the way they are ashamed of the nature of the Nazi, but they have overcome it. They are one of the leading country which helped the refugees today in the world. Automobile, talk about BMW, Mercedes, and all of them is Germany. Brazil, largest coffee producer. We spoke about Amazon rainforest some time back. South Africa, the Rainbow Nation, Nelson Mandela. They should not be proud of their apartheid, but they have done something amazing. Saudi Arabia, the FIFA World Cup is hosted. What do you think they are proud of? Their culture, the kind of work conditions the workers have, maybe something we debate on. North Korea, we always portraying North Korea in so poor light. What do you think about them? Syria, China, Burma, Mexico. Oh my goodness, there's so much that we can think about it. I've given you also a list of words for you to check if which country falls into these: anarchy and civil war. Well, today it could be Ukraine or Russia, and Syria. So much of going on. South Sudan, apartheid. Well, that's definitely South Africa, but some other country. Ban on women driving. That's Saudi Arabia for sure. Drug laws. Mexico. We hear about drug stories even in from the Balkan states, Poland perhaps. History of war crime. Well, North Korea, Germany. You could have some atrocities done by England as well. No right for voters. Well, think about it. It could be China, it could be Syria. I hope my book goes to China and we have some good ones. Voter identification problem. Maybe Brazil have borrowed something from India. Refugee crisis. It could be today, Turkey has bordered a lot of refugee coming from the war-torn states of Palestine or Burma, and smog and oxygen sold in can. Well, definitely Delhi, India is one of the places where oxygen, the pollution levels are very, very high, but China is where they are sold in cans. This is so much for learning. I hope you understood something. For me, each of these chapters, when I do a recording, is almost like therapy, is almost like a small lecture. And I hope you grow as an educator, parent, teacher, student by listening to this. And when you implement in the classes, the entire team grows. All the best. Thank you so much for listening. Good luck and happy reading.